Hi, it's Hugh Culver again, and in this short video I want to talk a little bit about clutter. Now, be honest, do you have a little clutter in your life? Maybe it's in your home, maybe it's a lot of the things that have been on the floor for weeks, maybe it's things that are unfinished around the home, like that light switch cover or that baseboard, or maybe it's in your car, it's all those things from the weekend trip that are still hanging around, or maybe it's in your office, your workspace, where you've got unfinished books and magazines that you want to get to. You've got reports that you're working on. You've got files that are open because yesterday you were looking at them. You've got post-it notes so you won't forget things. You've got business cards from that meeting or event that you were at recently. You've got, your desktop on your computer is littered with all sorts of things. So here's the reality. On one hand, clutter is not that big a deal. I mean, there's a lot of things that we can worry about that are probably bigger than clutter. But on the other hand, clutter actually has a cost. So let me explain. When you have clutter, you are automatically distracted. Now, you're not necessarily consciously aware of this distraction, but it's happening all the time. And there's another cost. There's a cost to you physiologically because your body is responding to your mind. So you know that Deepak Chopra once said that at a cellular level, our cells are eavesdropping on our thoughts and being changed by them. So what we focus on creates our future. What we focus on impacts not only the actions that we take and what we notice, but also how our body responds. So in a study at Hewlett-Packard with 800 employees, where they divided half of those 800 employees and had them work in a really cluttered environment, where there's a lot of physical distractions, there was a lot of things left behind, there was old projects and things like that. Then they had another half of the employees, the lucky 400, and they got to work in a really clean, really organized work environment. And then they monitored them. They started to notice, well, what are the differences? And what they found was that the ones that got to work in the clean, well-organized environment, their productivity was up over 400%. So they were like 4 times more effective than these other ones. It kind of makes sense. Their stress level was down by 50%. Their blood pressure was down. Their short-term memory was better. Their IQ scores were even higher. They were actually able to perform at a higher level simply because they didn't have this cluttered environment. Linda Stone, who's used to be an executive at Apple Computers, she coined an expression which is CPA, constant partial attention. And she says that we are bombarded by so many distractions that it actually has a negative impact. And she calls that constant partial attention. It's where, we're talking to someone, but we're thinking about something else, or we're noticing something else, like a person walking by, or if it's in our office, we're maybe noticing our computer screen, or we're noticing work that needs to get finished, or we're noticing that our phone is buzzing. Constant partial attention, and it has a cost. So here's the rule that I work with. If you can see unfinished business, you will think about it. So what does that entail? Well, if you can see a book that you're trying to finish or a magazine you're trying to read, if you can see the inbox on your computer which has all sorts of unread emails, if you can see that business card or a stack of cards or sticky notes that are unfinished, that you need to deal with them and they're on your desk, you will think about it. Now, it's not a big deal in the short term, but it's a huge deal over time. Because every time your eyes scan and spot that unfinished business, it thinks of, oh, I should do that. It thinks, oh, I should do that. I remember years ago in one of my offices, I had a banker box. And when we unfinished the office, I must have left it in my office space up against the wall. And it was sort of an unmarked banker box. And I can remember walking by it all the time. And every time I saw it, I thought to myself, I got to empty that banker box. But there was never the right time. And every time I walked back from the office, I saw that banker box. And I thought, I got to empty that banker box. And then one day, it was a Friday, I thought, oh, what the heck? I got to get rid of it. So I reached down, I grabbed the banker box, opened it up, looked inside. There was nothing. It was like some picture frames. There was a couple of magazines, I mean, in 2 minutes, it was off to recycling. The banker box was taken care of and put away. Done. How many times did I think about that banker box? How many times do you think about that sticky note that's still there from 2 months ago? How many times do you think about that book that you want to finish reading, or that file that hasn't been completed, or you think about those bills that have to be dealt with, or you think about that mail that has to be read, or that headset that has to get repaired, or whatever it is that's laying around on your desk? It is so counterproductive to what we are actually rewarded for doing. Whether it's when we're with our family, or when we're with our colleagues, or when we're with our clients, or when we're at work trying to get something done. So the rule is, if it's unfinished business, you will think about it, and it has a cost. So here's an experiment you can do right now. So in a moment, just stop the video. And when you stop it, I want you, without moving your head, to just notice within your peripheral vision how many things that you can see that are unfinished, that really need your attention. Just like in a moment, stop the video, and without moving your head, how many things can you see that are unfinished? All right, go ahead, stop the video. All right, did you do it? How many? My guess is if you're at your desk, it could be as many as 30 or 40 things. It could be maybe even 10 things. But those are the things that are going to distract you to keep you from being effective and productive. Look, you can tell. When you're on the telephone and you start thinking about something else, your mind wanders. You don't listen as well. When you're in your car and you think, oh, I'll just check my phone, right away your whole attention is off the driving, because the brain really doesn't multitask very well. In fact, what it tries to do is it tries to jump from the immediate thought to the thing that has taken its attention away. That's why it's so dangerous to be using your phone when you're driving, because the brain has suddenly left the driving function to go look at the phone. It's the same thing in your office. How many times during the day are you being distracted simply because there's stuff that could be put away? So here's the solution. First of all, I recommend you just start with a very simple 5-minute purge. Most people that I talk to say they never have enough time. I don't have time to clean it all up. Okay, we'll start with 5 minutes. We all have 5 minutes. 5 minutes before you go to lunch. 5 minutes as soon as you return from lunch. 5 minutes before the end of the day. Just take 5 minutes and just do as much as you possibly can. So get rid of all of the obvious distractions. Paper and files and clutter and whatever. Just get rid of it. 5 minutes. The second thing I would do is I would get clever. So start looking at things that are reoccurring distractions. So for example, you may have a lot of reminder notes and you're trying to keep track of things. Well, you can use your computer to store those things. So if you're on a PC, you can go to Outlook Tasks and you can have a category within Tasks where you keep track of those things. So that might be an item that refers to the committee. That might be an item that refers to sales or research, or that might be an item that refers to finance. Well, you can just put that item in there, give it a date as it brings forward, and now it's a part of your planning process. If you're on a Mac, you can use iCal, or you can use a great tool like Evernote. So with Evernote, you can, which is free, you can actually store an unbelievable amount of data and have it all categorized by tabs or in little workbooks. It's a fantastic tool. You can use the banker box technique. This is one of my favorite things. So when things become overwhelming and you have all sorts of things that you're really not sure, do I need them or not need them? Will I need them? Put them in a banker box. Mark that banker box for 1 month from today. Put a reminder on your computer for 1 month from today, and then put that banker box out of sight. Now, in 1 month from today, if you didn't need any of those things that are in that banker box, well, then you know what you need to do with it. And what you've done is you've saved yourself a lot of grief. Just the other day, I think I delivered 4 boxes of books. These are business books that at the time I truly valued. I ordered them, I sought them out, I read them, I learned from them. 4 boxes of books that I am never going to look at again. I'm never going to read them again. And I delivered them to a local charity. It felt fantastic. I mean, there were so many books gone, I could actually remove an entire bookshelf from my office. That's a fantastic thing. It took half an hour, but that's a fantastic investment for my mental clarity. is to not see those things sitting there anymore. All right, so 5-minute purge, you can use the banker box technique. You can go to Outlook Tasks or Evernote. Another great technique is to digitize. So what I've started to do now is if I have something that I want to remember, or I've got a piece of paper that's got some great notes on it, but I don't quite know where it fits in, and I don't want to create a file for it, I'll just take a picture of it. So just take a picture with my phone or whatever you've got, and then I upload that into my computer so that I can actually have it as a bring forward, or I can put it into a folder that it relates to. So it's a great way to get rid of the paper. It's a great way for me to actually have a really good copy that I can even email to other people, but that I can refer back to. The last technique is to get into a routine. So the best way to manage clutter is to have a routine that happens every week. So I think Friday afternoon is the perfect time. I mean, for most people, there isn't a whole lot of productivity in the last hour of the day on Fridays. It's a great time of the week to just spend 20 or 30 minutes and really do a great clean job and just feel fantastic when you come in on Monday.